Hey, what's going on, everybody? Back from my little break. It's been dry for a better part of a week now, so we'll see what's going on in the backyard actually tomorrow. So starting the video the night before. Just onions are looking pretty sad. They need a haircut, so that is on the agenda for tomorrow. You can see some of them are trying to bulb. My understanding is the multiplying onions, even though they bulb, don't know if they actually seed, so I might leave a couple of them and see what happens. But everything is in a great state of disarray. That's all weeds. Not one bit of that is anything growing that's edible. Leftover onions, well, I can walk down there. Forget it's not wet anymore. So these are, we'll call them donor onions. So I need to clean out these totes with all the weeds that are in there. That's all weeds. That's all weeds. Tomato buckets. Rosemary still doing well. I was going to say it looks a little dry, but there's no way. Need to clean out the strawberries. I was pulling a little bit of the grass, checking out the potato onions. Pulled one. It's just a barely bulbing, so it looks just like a green onion at this point. Those are all multiplying onions. Those are all multiplying onions. And those are all multiplying onions. You can see the ginormous weeds, or maybe you can't. Whatever this thing is. Ginormous weeds in the backyard. If it dries up by a little better by next weekend, try to get the lawnmower back here. I don't trust what's back there, even though it hasn't rained, how dry it actually is. Don't even know if I dare walk out here. I've got slip-on shoe sneakers. It's a little soft still, but anyways, these fruit trees need some fertilizing. This fig is alive. I can see some sprouts on the apple tree. I can see some of the sprouts on this fig. I was wondering what that haze was. That's the reflection off the sun from the house and across the way. Let's trample through here a little bit. Can't tell. I mean, this one has been lively, so these should bud out. This one I'm pretty sure is dead. That's one of my trays. Blew out here from the wind. Not sure how the raspberries are doing, but I'm guessing they're alive. Some more buckets. And there are bugs galore out here, so yeah, gonna need to empty that. There's actually potting mix in there, but I didn't get the lid on before the rain went down. I've got 2 things of potting mix left from last year. They are pretty saturated, even though they're in the plastic bags, so waiting for it to go on sale so I can pick up a couple bags. Yeah, brand new fence, falling apart. Other than that, we'll see what happens tomorrow, and maybe make a little headway down here. Alright, it's the next day. What did I get planted? I got nothing planted. had other errands to run this morning, and but I did get the onion forest chopped down. So all of those are onions. Every one of those are multiplying. Those 2 totes on the left side are multiplying. Those 5 buckets in the front, those are all the Serenity AG multiplying. And then these 2 on the inside right are the potato onions. So I just went through and went a cutting, and there's some of the trimmings, and more of the trimmings, and more of the trimmings, and more of the trimmings. They are so laden with bugs. You can see these weird black bugs. That's what most of the spots are on those buckets. Happens after it's really wet and then dries up a little bit, not too hot, kind of in the middle. And everything was a little wilty. It's funny, you know, it rains for weeks upon weeks upon weeks, and I guess months if you want to say, on and off since November, which is really rare for California. Happens once in a blue moon. So watered all the buckets after I trimmed them. Watered all the fruit, we'll say fruit trees, even though they're not all trees. The funny part is those are limes, and those actually do change color. So they look like lemons over there, but those are limes. So that's a lime, that's a lime, and then these 2 are lemons. So I need to go out and pick what's pickable. That way the trees aren't, you know, wasting energy on that. The back apple tree, that one's dead, never came back to life. I was hoping it would. Probably not going to go down the apple route, at least right now. I mean, ideally, I've talked about it for a few years now, but housing market's not right. I like to get my own piece of dirt instead of renting, so I can actually do what I want to do and do things right. But it is what it is. But so these Walmart totes, the blue ones are starting to deteriorate. That's just what plastic does. The black ones where the blackberries are at, a little bit newer. I'd like to get some more of these 55-gallon drums and cut them in half, and get the one apple back there, the lemon there, and the lime over here all into the bigger tote. Not sure what the going rate is. When I got those, they were 25 bucks. So I don't know what the going rate is now, but I've got 2 that I could convert from planters over into tubs. And I've got 1 which I was gonna save for cucumbers. I don't know if I want to play around with it, but I could cut that one in half, lose the top half because there's a big old hole in there. Could use that. And then I've got 1 hiding over there and 1 here. I was using those for beans, but you know, we'll see. It just, and then there's all the spare buckets for the potatoes. Then I need to clean all these totes out. It's just trying not to overdo it on the first warm day with everything else going on in and outside of the house. Yeah, and the blueberries could use a transplant, but they're not growing too crazy. So yeah, I'll have to see what the going rate for these blue barrels are and kind of go from there. That's it for the outside. We'll wrap up inside and show you one more thing. Alright, let's hope that the freeze dryer doesn't make too much noise in the background. I've got the mic pointing towards me, but we'll see what's going on. Anyway, so my Tractor Supply here in Northern California has sweet potatoes. They are a better price than getting them anyplace else. They're $7.99 for, I think it's a 4-pound bag. think someplace says it's 4 pounds. Anyway, significantly larger bag. Certified seed potatoes. These are Kennebec whites. These are Adirondack blues. I did those last year, along with the Norland reds, the German butterballs, and the Yukon golds. There's my silly hat. Had to get the outside hat on. It is fairly warm outside today. I think 75 plus. Playing around with a 3D printer. The cup isn't the cool part, although that is kind of cool. Nothing to do with gardening, but it was up the stairs, and so it prints in 3 colors. So it's like a blue, a green, and I think they call it red rose. But anyways, I needed something, so I was playing around with the printer and said, man, I need to figure out how to do this. So I figured out how to print myself some bucket tags. So I was playing around with the printer instead of trying to find somebody's model, trying to modify it. So these are fairly thin. I mean, they're like, I think 1 mil, a little thicker than 1 mil. Now they're 1 mil, and then the words, I let them be raised, and they're 1 mil. So poked a hole in it, zip tie it around the handle on the bucket, so that way I can tell what is what. So that's the cool part, is figuring out how to start making use of the 3D printer for things that you can do yourself. So anyways, yeah, bucket tags, that's the next thing. And then I need to print up a few more handles. I think I showed this last year, but so I was able to find this model, and this is for a straight handle, which my Walmart buckets are. So all the handles deteriorate, so these are nice replacement handles. The other ones you just crack off, slip this back on. So I think I've got about a dozen in here. That'll probably cover most of the buckets, but these take a long while, so they print like this, and it takes forever. So if you're going to print them, you queue it up before you go to bed and put like a dozen on the machine and let it do its thing. So anyways, that's it for this week. Nothing planted, but work on the outside, work on the printer, and you know, get ready to get some seed potatoes in, and then I'll have to get to transplanting the potato onions. We'll see how some of them do after I clip them, give them some water. Some of them aren't going to make it. That's because just the way the weather is and whatnot, but I don't need that many. I was growing some extras for some people at work and whatnot. So anyways, let me wrap this up. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next week.